Hey guys, what is going on? It's Coded Steel coming to you with your 8th tutorial in the C programming language. Guys, it has been a while actually since I've made a tutorial. I've been busy the last few days. So I figured now that I had some open time, I was going to go through and I was going to teach you guys about arrays. So an array is basically, the best way to describe it is a big variable. You can store, you guys know we have ints right now that can store like one number, right? And then cars that can store one letter. Okay, and then we have floats that can store one decimal number, like 9.0876 or something like that. So we have all of these variables are capable of storing one value. So basically what an array would do is it would allow you to store multiple values into one variable. So the way we declare an array is similar to the way we declare a variable. So I'm going to declare an integer array first. I'm going to go int, and I'm going to name it number array for short. And the way you tell C this is an array and not a regular variable is you put these square brackets like that. And inside of the square brackets, you put the length of the parameter. So I'm going to input the number 5, telling C that I want this array to be 5, the length of the array to be 5. So it's capable then, guys, of storing 5 numbers. That's what this means. It's storing 5 numbers. So now I'm going to tell it, if I initialize the array like this, guys, it would be an empty array, which means basically C would assign it a random place in memory, and depending on what's written to that random place in memory, it could have whatever information is stored there. But I don't want it to be an empty array. I want it to be something that I'm going to assign values to. So the way you assign values to an array, guys, is you put these little curly brace brackets and you tell it what you want to put in there. Well, this is an integer array, guys, so what am I going to put in here? Ints, obviously. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So basically, guys, I should tell you what I'm going to do with this code is I'm going to use arrays to print out the first 5 numbers and the first 5 letters that correspond to those numbers of the alphabet. So I figured, guys, we could go through and do all 26, but that would be overkill. After doing 5, you guys should get the point of what an array can do. So now we're going to declare a character array, and similar to how we declared a number array, you do the square brackets as well, and we're going to tell C we want it to be 5 characters long. And guys, you should already know about how characters work. You have to put these little hash marks to tell C, hey, I'm a character, not a number, so print me as such. Otherwise, C would get confused, and it would think you're trying to put in a number because that's the way a number is done. So now, guys, we have our arrays initialized for this tutorial. We have 5 numbers, and we have 5 arrays. So next what we're going to do is we're going to build a for loop, which is nothing new. It's something you guys should know from an earlier tutorial. We're going to do a for, and we're going to go int I equals 0, I less than or equal to, actually we're going to do I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay, something important I need to mention to you guys also is the way an array works is, if you guys look at this increment array here, it starts at 0 and it goes to 5, right? So you would think 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, why do I have it going to 4 and not to 5 like what's up here in these parameters? Because it'll never get to this 5th, guys. If I executed the line, you guys should know I'm saying less than 5. That means once you get to 5, don't execute anymore. So it wouldn't execute a 6th time like you would think it would. But actually, an array's index starts at 0. So actually, when we say we want 5 numbers in our array, our index starts at 0. So when this thing is 0, it will call the first number of your array or the first letter of your array. And to show you guys that, we're going to do now a print F statement. And inside of the parameters for this printf statement, we're going to say %d, we're going to print the number, and then we're going to print the letter that corresponds to that number. And then I'm going to do a new line to make it a little neater. You guys should remember this escape character from an earlier tutorial. And then I'm going to say NARR, square bracket, comma, LARR, square brackets. So guys, also another thing we need to do to get C to loop through this for loop and print out all the values in the array, we actually need to index through the array. So that's why I declared that variable I. We're going to start at whatever I is and print that until this for loop fails. So basically guys, I'm telling C where to index. I'm using this variable as an index variable to say, okay, I is equal to 0. So we're going to print out whatever is in this location of 0. Well, what's in this location? A 1. And then what's in the location of 0 for this? Well, it's A. So it's going to loop through. It's going to print A. Then it'll go back through, and the next index will be 1, and it should print 2 and B, and so on and so forth, all the way until you get to 5 and E, which will be the 4th number in the index. This will be when I equals 4. And then when I equals 5, this will fail and it'll leave. And guys, also another thing we got to remember to do that's very important is our getCharacter function. It's the only thing we have that will allow us to freeze the screen. So now that we have all of the stuff we need, we should be able to run this code flawlessly. Unless we get a stupid error. Oh, of course, made that mistake. Guys, need the comma separator there. You guys probably knew that and spotted that before I even did. And of course, this is what you get for changing your variable names. There we go. So as you guys can see, it looped through and it printed 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E. And I could make it go up theoretically to 26, but why would we do that? That's just overkill. So basically, guys, that is how an array works. Let's go through this code one more time and I'll explain to you how this all works. So basically, we have an integer array. This is how you initialize an integer array if you want to store data in there. Guys, if I didn't want to put this stuff, any data in there, I would just leave it blank if I wanted to assign the values later. And I could assign the values later by doing something like this. I could say NAR square bracket index 3 I want to be equal to 67. And then I could go ahead and say, oh, okay, well now I wanted it to, I have now what I want. Here is 67, so let's execute this and I'll show you guys what it'll do. Now where D was, it's 67. And as you guys can see before, this is what I was trying to explain to you before. Just because you don't initialize your array doesn't mean it doesn't have an initial value. As you can see, this is 0 and this is 0. But this is a really odd number, and that's because of where C assigned the data location to. There was memory stored, there was information stored in that memory location. So it printed out the information that was stored in the memory location. But as you can see, third index, 1, 2, 3, 4 would actually be corresponding to the 4th number in the index, because remember it starts at 0, and there you go, there's our 67 as we expect. So, and then I could do the same thing. I can change this to a G and I can print this back out again, and now there you go, guys, there's our G. And then similarly, like I said, if I didn't want to initialize this array right at the beginning, maybe I just wanted to give it its empty, I could take this and then an integer, or the location 3, I could print out a Z, for instance. So now it should say 67Z on the 4th line, because that's where the index is. And there it is. So anyways, guys, that's your crash course on arrays. Hope to see you next time. Bye.